Hi, it's John from North Star Nursery, Garden and Home. We're doing a kind of a different video this morning. I wanted to show you guys how to handle vines when you first put them in and putting them onto the trellis itself. Now, I also wanted to show you what it takes to kind of get ready for this. What we're going to do is I've already started. These vines came in completely out of control, in my opinion, but they've been very, very difficult to get. This is Japanese honeysuckle. It's a lovely fragrant flower. It's like a kind of a citrus flower fragrance. Starts out white, fades to this kind of buttery yellow. There are other hybrids that actually are color, that have color on them, but they don't have the fragrance. So to me, this is totally worth it for fragrance. So what we're going to do is I'm literally going to go through because these came in really, really out of control. And I am going to cut back all of the stems that I'm not going to use to 2 nodes. So we go from where it's originating, 1, 2, and cut. 1, 2, cut. It's like a dance step. Cha-cha-cha. Okay, so we do that. When we're done with that, oopsie, I'm grabbing things with the vine. When we're done with that, it's going to look like this side. Okay, then what I do is I cut all of the green tie off with scissors very carefully because you don't want to cut any of the stems. Then comes the little bit more challenging part, which is unraveling the vines. Once you unravel them, then you can start attaching them to the actual fence line. Or not fence line, well, trellis, fence line, whatever you want to call it. What I do, and this is a metal trellis, and what I've done, and I do this at home with my vines, is I run the primary ones that I want to kind of create the structure every 2 squares or so. If you're doing a wood trellis, it would probably be every 8 inches or so. And then what I do, so I've done that here and here with these primary ones. And then we have all these little secondary ones that are kind of hanging out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to twist tie them. And what I'm using is a rubber coated wire. And this is good because it's soft. It won't girdle. You can also use green tie. That's always been a favorite of mine. I just like this because it's really quick. So what I do is I just continue to tie this up and head it in the right direction. Then what I do when it starts to grow out is I start to weave the new sprouts through the grid work so that what we end up with is a grid work of growth. You might want to consider it kind of like a climbing rose that we talked about last week, or the whole grape structure thing. What you're doing is you're creating a structure to prune back to. Let me come around here. So many of you are usually struggling with vines. So what tends to happen is people plant a vine and then they walk away from it thinking that it's just going to take care of itself. And it actually isn't. It needs some guidance. The ones that don't need as much guidance are like pink jasmine because they have tendrils that whip through and kind of grab. There's another one that I'm using at my house, which is called porcelain vine. It's incredibly invasive as far as its ability to cover other plants. But I want it for that because I'm actually running it along my vegetable garden fence. And I have this grid work at home. So what I'm doing is each morning, actually every morning, when I take Bodhi out to go potty, I go over and I start moving the tendrils on the horizontal line because they always want to go upward towards the sun. But what I'm trying to do is get them to go further down the line on that fence. So if you take some time, especially initially when you're kind of setting the vine up for where it needs to go, you're going to be in a better place. The reason you're going to be in a better place is, let's say in 3 years, and this is very common, people end up with a vine that's kind of bare at the bottom and this kind of waterfall effect of green growth that, because vines are vines, they just want to grow. They're going to keep going no matter what you do. So what I'm trying to do is create a structure here. So if I wanted to, in the fall, I could literally take a hedge clipper and hover about 6 inches away from the trellis and just go all the way down. Just clip it nice and clean. And then I can take and cut everything that runs along the top to keep it on here. Now, I know that sounds like a little bit of work, but if you start out, especially with 1 gallon pots, and you have them at the base of a trellis like this, you can really guide it as it goes. But using a 5 gallon is great because you get somewhat instantaneous results. This doesn't look like anything right now, but in about 2 weeks, it'll already be sprouting. Part of the reason it'll already be sprouting is that we want to go ahead and use, of course, Sure Start when you're planting, because that's our favorite fertilizer. And then Maxi, which is another one of my pantry basics, that will push a lot of new growth, not as much bloom. If you wanted to, when you get to the spring season and you've pruned back your trellis, you can start using the bloom formula. That'll actually push more bloom development, so you get your blooms happening more quickly. So hopefully this helps. It does take a little bit of time, but the benefits of being able to go through and use a hedge clipper or hedge trimmer at the end of the season to kind of clean things up just makes your life so much easier. So I hope you guys are having a great day. It is gorgeous out. The nursery, you need to come in and see the nursery. We've been doing some things around here that are kind of special. So I'm excited. We have some of the demonstration gardens are being revitalized, and the staff is working really hard to keep this place gorgeous. So we will see you at the nursery.